Okay, so we're going to try and do a deep dive as to why I couldn't slow down at Mallory Park and what caused me to enter Edwinas with a little bit too much speed, meaning I ran into difficulty and then ended up hitting the barriers after I hit the cones. So the symptoms that I had on the car were that I came round Gerard's at 145 in 6th gear. It was absolutely ballistic. Lifted off, changed down, braked and changed down again, but it refused and I was still braking, and I tried changing down several more times and it refused, so I came off the brakes, hit the brakes again hard, and then it went down into gear, and then I kind of tipped it into Edwinas and hit the cone and crashed. What we're trying to work out is why I couldn't change down. Looking at the data on the screen now, you can see that I've got 4 graphs. The top one shows gear shift, so it shows the actual process of changing gear. The second one is the vehicle speed and the gear shift pressure, so that shows the pneumatic pressure of the gear shift system, so you can actually see when I change gear that it dips, so you can actually see a gear shift was successful. The next graph is paddle switch. That shows you basically me pulling the down paddle. It's CAN based, it's a single channel, and if you pull up or down it shows it on that graph. You can see me pulling down because you can see the peaks in the data on the blue just there. The next one down is gear, another graph. It shows you what gear I'm in, and then the bottom one's an interesting one. It shows brake pressure, it shows pedal position, and it shows throttle position. Pedal position and the throttle position, there's a sort of linear relationship between the two, but the ECU decides how much throttle to give based on various criteria. So you lift off or you accelerate and the ECU complies. It depends on the slope of the pedal position table. Anyway, right, so here we go. So we're coming around Gerard's. You can see on the graph on the left over here. Here we go. So I've gone around Gerard's. I'm still accelerating. I'm on for a record. It's a fantastic lap. I'm going around here and you can see here it says vehicle speed 142 miles an hour. I'm still on the throttle because you can see down here the pedal position, which is the green one, is still high. I'm still accelerating, and then I get to about here and I lift off the throttle, which is what you want to do when you start to decelerate. And then you can see also that then the brake pressure starts to increase. So I hit the brakes quite hard and that brake pedal pressure peaks at about 35 bar, so it's not as hard as it could be pressed, but it's hard enough to slow down at a sufficient rate to make the chicane. So anyway, so as you can see the speed is now starting to reduce, so 144, gear shift pressure is still 5,900 millibars, plenty of air pressure ready to do a downshift, and the speed is being scrubbed off because I'm braking, and I get to here and I pull the down paddle. You can see a blip just there which shows me pulling the paddle to say I'd like to change down please. Now the ECU shows here a status. If I go across to the right it says RPM too high, which basically means it's protecting the engine. The engine RPM is too high to drop into 5th gear. At that point it would over rev the engine. And what happens then is the downshift is queued. There's a value which on my ECU is set to half a second, and it will remember for half a second if you pulled a downshift. After half a second it forgets it. It kind of stacks the downshift. So I've pressed the paddle to change down. The ECU's gone, no, RPM's too high. It's stacked the downshift and it's waiting as I'm decelerating for the RPM to drop sufficiently to change gear, and it's got to just here and it's then gone, right, the RPM is now sufficiently low enough to change gear, and it's fired the actuator which has told it to change down, and the gearbox has gone into 5th. You can see just here it's gone from 6th to 5th. We're all good. Okay. Gear shift pressure's dropped, returns back to normal. You see a second pulse on the gear shift pressure, which is what you normally do. When you do a downshift, it then fires the upshift actuator for, it's a fraction of a second. It's like a 50 milliseconds, and it's just to make sure that the actuators return back to the central position, having changed gear. It then just fires it back quickly to put it back in the centre, ready for the next downshift or upshift. So anyway, so we're still decelerating. It's now in fifth, everything's going okay, and I pull down again. Here we go, blue on here. I pull down again, but it's still busy clearing the downshift. It hasn't finished yet. It's doing the auto clear, so it's ignored that downshift. It doesn't appear to have stacked the downshift either, which is a bit odd. It looks like you can't pull a downshift and stack it while you're doing a downshift, because gear shift state says auto idle. So I then like, why has it not gone down into another gear? Because I really want to be in fourth gear at the moment. So I then pull downshift again. There's another spike just here, and this time it says TPS is too high. Now that means the throttle is being pressed. At the same time I'm pressing the brake pedal. So if you look down here, you can see brake pressure is still very high, and I'm now pressing it very hard. But you can also see down here, pedal position shows that the throttle pedal is being pressed. And I don't know why. And the throttle pedal position increases, like it's something's pushing the throttle pedal even harder, which is very odd. So the engine's now making boost while I'm trying to slow down, and you can see it's now down to 87 mile an hour, but it's not decelerating as rapidly as it would normally be. In fact, it kind of plateaus out down here. So TPS too high. It has stacked the downshift, and it will stack it for half a second. If I look at that and there, that is 0.4, about 0.5 of a second, and then it clears it, it forgets all about it. So anyway, so we're decelerating. I've pulled downshift and it's gone, no, throttle position is too high. So the car's not slowing down as quickly as I wanted it to, or I'd like it to. And we get just here, and I pull downshift again. I'll have another go, please, and it goes, nope. Throttle position is still too high. So you can see it's only fired the solenoid once to go from 6th to 5th gear. So this is not ideal. And you can see down here, brake pressure is starting to come off. I'm kind of realising I'm lifting my left foot off the brake pedal because I'm going to reapply it. And it's not till I get my left foot really off the brake pedal that the throttle pedal then also disengages. So I'm not entirely sure if my left foot was pushing the brake pedal and the throttle pedal at the same time. If it was, I would expect the pedal position and the throttle position, brake pressure position to be the same all the way across the period while I'm braking. So it's very odd. Anyway, so I've now come off the brakes and now pull downshift again, and the ECU goes, throttle position is no longer too high, that clears, and it does a downshift. Okay, so it fires the solenoid and the actuator, but it doesn't actually go in gear, which is a bit odd. So I'm still stuck in 5th, it hasn't dropped to 4th, and you can see now I'm braking very, very hard again. Here we go, so I'm then right, I really could do with 4th gear, so I pull it again. See the number of times I've tried to get into 4th. So I'm pulling again, and it has another go, and it fires the actuator. The gear shift pressure drops to show that it's the actuator's fired. This is the gear shift output saying please fire the solenoid to change down, and it goes into 4th, so that's good. And then I'm pulling like, well, I'd like actually 3rd now, please, and it can't do it because it's too busy. And I'm like, no, I'd really like 3rd gear again, so I'm hitting it again here, pulling the down pedal. And this time it goes, yep, okay, we'll give you a bit of a downshift. So I'm now into 3rd. And I'm now like, shit, this isn't looking very good. I'm actually turned into the chicane now. You can see on the map here, I've actually entered the chicane, and I'm hoping to get around the left-hander to then make the right. So I pull down again, because I think 2nd gear would be quite good. Pulled down, and it's ignoring me, but it's not stack shifted, and I think it's because it's busy changing gear that it won't let you. I think it's because the gear change itself the whole process takes like half a second to change down, so it can't cue a downshift while it's doing other things. Anyway, right, so I then pull down again, Here we go, pull down again. Still slowing down. I'm now down to 57 mile an hour, which is about okay for that chicane. It's about a 50-60 mile an hour corner. Vehicle speed then goes down to 0. Gear shift pressure drops down to 5 bar. Yep, so it's fired the solenoid and it's gone down into second gear. And then it says RPM too high to go into first. Why would you want to pull first? And at this point I'm kind of panicking and I know I'm about to hit the wall. Very unpleasant experience. And you can see I'm trying to kind of get it to go around the chicane, but it won't, and then, well, the rest is history. I hit the wall. So it's a bit odd. I don't fully understand why, when I was lifting off and braking for the approach to Edwinas, why the throttle position here, pedal position and throttle position are going up. And I guess we'll never know, because you don't have a camera mounted in the footwell like you see on rally cars. I haven't got the luxury of that, so I don't know. I've checked the car, I've looked in the pedal box area. There's nothing that is floating around. There's no mobile phone down there, all like the Formula 1 drivers get. There's a phone near my feet. All I can think is I've either caught the throttle pedal with my left foot, which is possible. There's quite a big gap between the two pedals. I've never done it before. Or for some reason I've decided to accelerate while I'm braking, which just doesn't make any sense at all. I can't work it out. The pedal position sensor shows how much you're pressing the pedal down. It's on a very strong spring. It's not just going to suddenly, because you're braking, give you acceleration. That should never happen. So I don't know. Very odd. What we've done is we've spoken to me and my tuner have had a discussion about it, and we're both in agreement that for safety the ECU should not really allow you to hit the throttle pedal if the brake pedal is over a certain pressure. Why would you want to be braking very hard for a corner and then mashing the throttle pedal? Because I mean, that would be stupid. If you go off the circuit and you're in the process of, like, you've left the track because you've missed a curve and you're bouncing across the ground, you might accidentally hit the throttle pedal with your right foot if you're left foot braking. And again, in that situation, you wouldn't want the engine to be producing boost. So what we're going to suggest to Life is that they put a feature in that you can enable if you want it to, that says basically if throttle position or pedal position is applied while you're braking, ignore it, so that it will then allow you to brake safely and then not run off the track and hit the barriers like I did. I mean, it's a bit of a sensible thing to do. If you're heeling and towing and you're braking for a corner and you're downshifting, so you're braking and you're downshifting at the same time with your right foot, then you wouldn't want that feature switched on, because you do want to rev the engine as you're braking. But to drive a car left foot brake, right foot throttle, you'd never really want to be braking very, very heavily and then accelerating at the same time. So we're going to see what happens. We're going to put a suggestion into Life for them to consider. I think it would be very beneficial. I'm not a professional racing driver. People make mistakes, and something along those lines clearly happened at Mallory Park. I've never done it before. Hopefully it'll never happen again, but it would be nice if we could get the ECU to override throttle when you're braking, just to make sure that this doesn't happen to anybody else, because it could have been a much bigger accident. And I won't be the last person to do it. I'm certainly not the first. So let's see if we can apply some lessons learned and see if we can improve the software for other people. It just makes sense to do that, doesn't it? Anyway, thanks for watching. That's a little description about what happened. I'll never know why it happened. It's just one of those things. But it'd be nice if we could stop it happening again. So thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and keep tuned in for more videos in the future.